Greetings, Earthlings. Thank you for coming to the Roseanne Barr podcast. It's going to be an exciting convo with an exciting genius. But how do you like my hair? It went out of control, and I sprayed it with water because it was like total wire.
I think it looks good.
Bad Jew hair day. My hair sometimes becomes like wire, and I can't do nothing with it. But anyways, I think I made up for it anyway.
The testosterone's not helping with the hair?
Well, it's supposed to.
Yeah.
It is making my nails a little stronger. And as Jake always points out, I am more pragmatic and calmer.
That is true.
I think that today's going to be a exercise in self-discipline for me because I'm going to attempt not to swear, not to use profanities.
It's the same thing, but
oh yeah, they are the same
thing. That's not
thing.
Put one finger, yeah.
And not to interrupt my guests because, you know, I'm just such a fan. And
all right, I'm going to hold you to it.
So without further ado, I'd like to introduce a very funny person and a great patriot, great thinker. He's up here in the penthouse of thought, which we always talk about. J.P. Sears. Yay!
Roseanne, thank you for having me. And with your goals for today's show, anything I can do to help fucking support you not swearing, let me know. I'm here. I have your back.
Oh, you see, my patience is growing.
Thank you, brother.
And I don't think you can do it.
She's not.
I did it yesterday. I only said one F word. That was good for 2 hours.
Okay.
You know, I was praying on it before I did it. That's the thing, is I always pray, but you know what? I say the wrong prayers. That's my fault, not God's. Because I'll be saying, help me to, you know, channel, the right message. But I didn't say, help me to channel the right message in the right way. See, it's two different things. You know what I mean?
Sure, I get that. And, you know, I'm just speaking out of my butt here. I wouldn't be surprised if sometimes the right message in the right way purposely has swear words, because at times it can break through psychological barriers, like a little membrane is put up in people's minds, and the right tastefully done F-bomb or shit can help punch through that. It gets people's attention. Not trying to talk you out of your goal.
I think you're fucking right on that. Whoops. No, but I do, because it does punch through. I love the F word. It is the greatest lyrical word in the world.
Have you ever seen that old clip of the kind of guru cult leader Osho?
Oh, I love Osho.
And did you see the clip he did about all the uses of the word fuck?
Mm-hmm.
It's brilliant.
Wasn't he brilliant?
I don't know.
Oh.
Did you see the Netflix documentary on him?
I did.
Yeah, they definitely didn't have a pro-Osho slant on that. I'm sure there's a lot of good things. Yet it was also kind of like, dude, his teachings are good and also sort of looks creepy. So
once they get into having to have sex with everybody, they always violate their own message, but they cannot keep it in their pants, these
they
men.
all seem to
Something's
do it.
wrong with them.
Yeah, that yoga guy, Bikram. I mean, he was, actually assaulting women, not just having
I didn't know
sex.
that.
Yeah.
Was that John of God, Oprah's John of God? He did it too, right?
Well, that's another one.
No,
I just heard
can't keep
about
track.
him.
Yeah.
Apparently, John of God was doing legit healing, like kind of miracles, and then you find out, and he's having sex with everyone.
He can't keep it in his pants.
Yeah.
All of them are like that. I don't know. It goes to their brain.
I would think so.
The
power
Bible
trip.
says that men's downfall is bad food and bad women. I think it's true.
And I would guess those guys, after many years of seeing people see them with immense power, they make them their source of divine inspiration. I would guess a lot of them actually believe their own rationalizations, like, oh, God wants me to have sex with all these women. It's a way I transmute power.
That's what's his name said, the polygamy guy that's in jail, Warren Jeffs. He told them this is the way that God transmits his love through me to you, to the 8-year-old girls he was having sex with in the holy bed there. But you can see how they get that way because what nobody ever says. And like I'm starting to go off on it and people are getting mad at me, of course, because I can't stay out of trouble. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the things people like about you. And I don't think you get into trouble just for the sake of getting into trouble. I think you're always aiming, pursuing truth. You obviously you don't acquiesce to politically correct BS or being obedient to the narrative. So if that's what gets you in trouble, good.
Because you know what? They made all these women into Jezebels. And that's why these men fall, because they get all that Jezebel and her sexuality because, and then they don't tell women what they're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, a man finds you attractive, and that's all that counts for you, you brainless whore. You know what I mean? It's the wrong message.
It is. And speaking of documentaries on this stuff, did you watch the Waco documentary from a couple of years ago?
I did.
That is also creepy. Like, especially when, I mean, can you imagine being the husband in a relationship and this David Koresh guy says, God told me he wants me to have sex with your wife. By the way, he told me he doesn't want you to have sex with your wife. And then those men actually allow it. It's like they deserve what's coming to them. Not to
mind control.
Cucking for Jesus is what that is.
It is
Crazy. Do you think that?
Well, that's what they used to do back in Pharaoh's time, in the biblical times. It was, and also then, Pharaoh, when he had illegitimate children with his harems and such, well, only the first son would inherit. None of the other sons did. Forget the daughters; they never got a dime because they were just women, cows that talk. But only the firstborn son inherited. So he had all these other sons that wasn't getting nothing, and they was getting mad, so they rebelled. So then they were made like princes and knights and such like that, so they could get a piece of the inheritance too. And that's how they went and founded all these other countries, specifically Switzerland, in 1291, where they laundered all their war grift. But anyways, the Pharaoh had, and all of them had, what's called the right of the first night. Whenever a woman's, they got to sleep with her the night before the wedding, the lord of the manor, in feudalism. And so they said that's how they sowed their wild seed, because a lot of those kids would be there, so they would be loyal to the crown.
Dang. And I think the movie Braveheart starts off that way, where the king has the first right on the wedding night.
That's what animals do. They'll go and kick a pregnant. If they're invading, they'll kick the baby out of the pregnant and then try to impregnate them with their baby.
Wow.
It's warfare. It's like low level chakra instinct warfare of the male.
Yeah, it's, man, I wish I want to be a cult leader if I could get in on that.
Yeah, but then they always seem to go getting younger and younger in who they want to have the sex with.
Yeah,
huh?
That's a problem.
Yeah.
And our modern day kings, not that they're actual kings, they're
elites.
tyrants.
Yeah.
I mean, you look, Epstein's whole thing, obviously they sex traffic kids to no one, because nobody's been convicted, not one named. But that's what they were doing. You have these tyrannical kings who think they have a right to be as promiscuous as possible, and they got younger and younger and younger. It's
and then he
creepy.
trains them to be the perfect sex slave with MK Ultra sex kitten programming. And then you know what they do? And Satanism, because it was a satanic cult too. And then you know what that qualifies them for? The beautiful ones, being the wife of a CEO. Right? They know how to do all that courtly shit that courtly stuff that women of that ilk and class do. Entertain, where they suck the baby's blood and all that other stuff they do.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. But yeah, it is a world run by Satan, I think.
I agree 100%. I think, there's a million nuanced issues of corruption happening in our world. But the macro, what's really going on, in my opinion, is it's spiritual warfare.
Yeah, it is.
It's Satan versus God. It's people who are doing the bidding of the devil. And I think a lot of them don't know they're doing the bidding of the devil.
No, they have no idea.
Best way to control someone is to make sure they don't know that you're controlling them.
Yeah.
So I think that's what the devil does. And
Here's what I heard. I love this quote. Safest place for the devil to hide? In the church.
I bet. Yeah, the devil
Right?
masquerades as an angel in disguise.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that keeps people from waking up to what's going on, which, by the way, I think more and more people are
Yeah.
waking up. It's beautiful. But, and I used to do this. People are expecting, hey, if there was evil in the world, they would come out and say, hey, I'm a evil tyrant. I'm here to do some horrible stuff. No, like you look at what the Nazis did.
Yeah.
They tried to disguise themselves as doing good. So that whole notion, best place for the devil to hide is in the church, it's incredibly true.
Yeah.
And it's like, would the devil be willing to deceive people? That's the least of what he's capable of.
Those guys are all having sex with their parishioners, too.
Yeah.
And doing worse. All the rabbis, all them.
Are they?
Yeah, all of those holy men.
So same
It's
thing
a
in the
door
Catholic
into
Church happening
all of 'em.
elsewhere.
All them holy men ain't nothing but devil worshippers.
Yeah.
Don't you think that's why they get into
Allegedly.
it?
Allegedly.
Don't you think that's why they get? It's the old saying: does the power corrupt, or are they corrupt to begin with, and they're attracted to the power?
They're corrupt to begin with and attracted to power.
That's what I think too. One thing you were saying, and we'll bring it up later, but when we were talking about RFK, you were like, he seems like he doesn't really want to be president of service. And I was thinking the same thing. Like, I don't trust people that want to be president, that want that power. It's just like those cult leaders.
Yeah, I think it's, the people who want the power, the Hillary Clintons.
Yeah.
Shout out to the picture of you and
I
Hillary
know,
behind
that
me.
was a fun party that night. I left early because I didn't want to see what happens after everyone's
good
drunk.
call.
Yeah.
Jeez. But seeing the Hillary Clinton-esque people who want to be in power, it's like Lord of the Rings, where you've got Gollum and all these creepy people. They can't handle the power of the ring. It just corrupts them. They care about nothing else other than the power in this ring. And the ring, metaphorically, in today's world, it's control, it's fame, it's being known, money to an extent.
It's the control of other people. Ain't it?
I think that's the primary thing. Some people say, the whole pandemic and everything else they do, it's just a money grab. I don't think so. I think money is somewhere on their agenda, but money just gives you more ability to control. And I do think control is ultimately what they're after. I think God's way is freedom. That's why he gives us free will. So we have free will. We're not controlled, nor are we controlling anyone. And my definition of evil is anyone who tries to control anyone else in a way that's not in their best interest. While God frees, I think evil, the devil, it constricts, it controls. And we're seeing what I would call the alleged work of the devil, just control all over the place.
Mind control.
Or at least attempted to control. Mind control.
If you
for
control
sure.
your mind, you control your soul.
Yeah. Especially if you get the mind to constipate its psychological
contract
sphincter.
is the word, yeah.
So like the light of the soul, it can't penetrate into someone's conscious awareness.
Right. Absolutely. And they turned everything upside down so that in the upside down world, clown world, it actually makes sense on backward day, which is every day. That's what it looks like to me. It's so absurd.
Yeah.
It's hard to, like I said, our job is to mock. But it's hard to mock the absurd.
It is. One of the comedic principles, not that I need to tell you, comedic principle of exaggeration. But when you look at the world where these tyrants, then the narrative and everybody doing the bidding, what they're doing, it's already so exaggerated, so absurd that it's hard to make it more absurd while
Right.
having it look realistic, because what's going on in reality, it doesn't even look realistic. Men can get pregnant. Look at that man winning in the swim meet. Look at that man who just won the powerlifting championship in the women's division. It's so absurd already.
But how far ahead of his time was Andy Kaufman with that wrestling woman thing? He was prescient.
He was, yeah. There's been a lot of stuff, and I'm forgetting the example. I was just going to think of, let's just pretend it was going to be smart. But then also, like, a little example, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, Junior, where it's like, hey, here, it came out in 94. Here's this absurd idea. A man is pregnant, and it's so absurd.
Oh, yeah.
They just made a movie out of it. Like, not a good script, not really a amazing art form, but just the absurd idea. And now we have pregnant men on the covers of magazines. You get canceled if you claim that men can't get pregnant.
I'll tell you what, that birth has got to hurt. Coming out through the penis like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I know your vagina gets stretched out. I've had 5 children, but I don't know about that penis. I mean, I don't know how they're going to have to get some kind of plug after to keep their urine from.
Well, I identify as a doctor, so let me tell you the medical reality of this right now. These men who are pregnant, I don't think they have penises.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Special breed of man. I looked up on Wikipedia the other day. I was researching some kind of video, and I know Wikipedia is stupid and corrupt and, propaganda.
I take it as the truth.
As you should. I'm doing my best to learn my way and acquiesce my way into bowing down what Wikipedia and the evil people are that run it. But I looked up, like, wow, there's a lot of human men getting pregnant. Does this happen elsewhere? Apparently there's one species of fish.
Starfish.
Is it starfish? Mm-hmm. Where the males can get pregnant.
Yeah, they carry the embryo, and then they, give birth to the eggs, the fertilized eggs.
Do you have a degree in starfishology?
I do.
Roseanne?
I've studied it. I did a lot of study on trans issues because my friend wrote a book, and she wrote a book called Transsexual Empire in the 60s, and she was heretofore immediately deplatformed, denied tenure. They tried to make her homeless and kill her, which in fact they did in the long run, in so many words. A Harvard professor, and they did that to every woman professor who didn't bow down.
Wait, did she write the book in the 60s, or was it written more recently just about the 60s?
No, she wrote Transsexual Empire in 68.
Okay.
About the engine, it's basically about cloning and bioengineering of the human being.
Wow. She was ahead of her time.
Well, she was a professor with 7 PhDs. In
Not
philosophy.
impressive, by the way.
Well, this was back in the 60s when it was impressive. These are real doctorates.
When women took that instead of gender studies in college, where they actually became linguists and historians and shit,
Well, I don't think that's a credible source.
No, it probably
only
isn't.
7 PhDs?
But it's a fascinating book. I have it here. If you'd like, I'd love to buy you a copy and send it to you.
Oh, yeah.
It's
I'd love
so
to accept
prescient.
that.
And it's all to pursue a political agenda, which is basically the same old, to defend, the disintegration of women's rights.
Yeah. And man, are they doing that.
They're trying.
Like next, we're probably gonna see women banned from women's sports. Because,
that would be smart, though.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it?
You know what I was...
They'd be record-setting.
I might actually watch one of those.
I know. And I agree with that agenda. Let's ban women from women's sports, because no offense, they kind of suck.
They do kind of suck. They're not as good as men.
They're one of the most beautifully Hippocratic 1984 in reality things I've ever seen. I was doing a reaction video to a pregnant man, like person of female origin on TikTok. lives as a man and, big belly, very pregnant. And he was saying, yeah, women, you don't own the term mother anymore.
Right, I saw that.
Jeez
Which was so beautiful because here is a man telling women, you don't, like, if you believe
Cis women.
it's this woman, yeah. So if you believe this person's a man, as you are dutifully supposed to, then what you're getting is a man telling women, you don't own the term mother anymore. You don't own pregnancy. It is a man literally just taking motherhood from women. The obliteration of women's rights.
Yeah, and being. But that's all like the whole, but the whole Luciferian plot is to get the kids.
Yes.
Because, they got to have their snacks.
So they got to get rid of the dad and the mom, male and female, the protectors, right? Let's get
Dads
in.
are the protectors for sure.
Because pedocrats, as I call them, they don't care what sex or gender a child is because, the part of the child they like, all kids have.
Is that the blood?
No, the butt.
Oh,
The butthole.
The butt and the mouth. That's why they call it the bonus hole. The vagina is called the bonus hole. According to all the insurance companies now, they call the vagina the bonus hole, which pretty much right there proves they are pedocrats because it's the butt and the mouth. Those are the primary holes. And that's what all pedos do because they can't have sex with the little girl. She doesn't really have but half an inch of a vagina.
Yeah.
So they have to go in through the butt, which is Satan's preferred way, and that's called opening the third eye in satanic ritual abuse.
Wow.
That's why they get the panda eyes where their eyes are black. You've seen all those pictures. That's what Lady Gaga is mocking with her panda eyes.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Why do they get their eyes looking that
Because
way?
of their
Being
anus.
anally raped.
Uh,
Trauma.
Yeah, the
Okay.
trauma.
What'd you think of the whole Sound of
But I
Freedom
kid
phenomenon?
Hollywood.
Yeah.
What?
What'd you think of the whole Sound of Freedom phenomenon?
I was so happy that it finally went in America's heads.
Yeah.
But I was kind of upset. Not upset, and I don't want to criticize it because I was glad that it opened the door. But it is just the top 10% of the truth, and it isn't in South America. It's here in the United States. This is the center of child trafficking through our border. It's the center of the world and the center of child sex slavery as well as child labor slavery is in the United States of America. So they got all these MK Ultra programs that they run on us, so we never look at that. But then it's so corrupt. It is so corrupt, flesh peddling in America, and people are like, we've got to go down there to Colombia and help. Well, why don't you look at your neighbor?
Yeah.
But
Or
we can't
CPS.
see what's right in front of our face with this mind control. You can't see what's right in front of your face.
It's interesting. And with Sound of Freedom, seeing the mainstream media establishment smear it, say, oh, Sound of Freedom, it's a QAnon conspiracy
Didn't
theory.
you love, though, how God works? As soon as they said that, the next week or a month later, the guy's arrested for child porn, the producer. Did you see that?
He
He wasn't a
producer
producer
of what?
He wasn't. He was one of the people that, because it was crowdfunded, so he was one of 5,000 people that.
No, I'm
funded it.
talking about the CNN producer and the
Oh, yeah.
ABC producer.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
That said,
It's
this
great.
is nothing but a QAnon.
Oh no,
That's
the
what they
headline
call
was
it.
a reporter who debunked Pizzagate.
Right.
Arrested for child pornography, which
Like
is one of the
3
greatest headlines
billion
ever.
pictures of violent child porn.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
What a
it's
scumbag.
they're
And-
all in it together, and Americans are too damn dumb or doped
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, and that's, first of all, that CNN guy, and then Rolling Stone saying, yeah, Sound of Freedom,
and then-
it's a superhero movie for dads with brain worms.
Yeah.
I loved that the media smeared it so much for 2 reasons. One, it was them raising their hand saying, we're protecting child sex traffickers.
Yeah. Right.
They identified themselves. They're so stupid. That's what they did.
They did it. Jason Aldean too made a song #1.
Exactly. And when they do that, when we see these corrupt, evil people, or they're media that they're armed with, when we see them smear something, it makes that something grow. Because the devil is telling me that's bad. Let me look into it. There's probably something good about that.
Absolutely.
It's
in the Bible. No weapon formed against me shall prosper or have dominion. Hello, the word dominion. Yes. I mean, God is the funniest guy in the whole universe.
He's pretty good.
He's so funny. The time I knew God was funny was when our neighbor, whose dad was a dentist, he ran away from home and became homeless and died of dental disease.
No shit.
It was so morbidly funny that God would.
That's so precise.
It's so horrible, but
yeah,
there's always a twist to the way God shows us stuff.
Yeah, and like you mentioned before we were on air, when it comes to prayer, part of it is asking for the wisdom to have the awareness for how the prayer is answered. And then also just like looking at where's the serendipities of life? Where's the signals from God? Where's the signs? If we look hard enough, like they're so obvious, but we see hilarious things like that. Or forgot the guy's name, but he was a big person bringing the Russian hoax on us. Trump's a Russian asset. Now he's arrested for colluding with Russia.
I know, it's so great. You can't get fun. How are you going to make a joke out of that?
He was the joke. It's already made. You don't got to make a joke out of it because he already did it. Or God did it. Yeah.
Well, the book of Esther, which I study a lot because I always was a student, because that was important to me since I was a little girl. But the book of Esther is all about coincidences. Coincidences being the hand of God, if you have the eyes to see it.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about all these coincidences. Everybody's like, oh, that's just a coincidence. You've overlooked something very stunning.
Yeah.
Especially when there's like 17 of them in a row.
Yeah.
And it's like, how did you manage to not see that?
Yeah.
Your decipherability gene is like off the mark.
Well, how about like when the FBI loses evidence and it's always it helps Biden or a Democrat?
Well, that is just a coincidence.
Yeah.
I mean,
every mistake is for one side.
Those are coincidences. Yeah, I think present day, you're either a conspiracy theorist or you're a coincidence theorist, and only one of them uses their brain.
That's really a good way to put it.
And
then when all the conspiracies come true and you don't go, what a coincidence. What about that?
Yeah. And I think just chalking things up to, that's a coincidence, it keeps us from needing to go to the trouble of thinking.
Yeah.
And it keeps us from needing to go to the trouble of considering things that are pretty freaking uncomfortable to consider. Because people love to live in the coffin of their comfort zone. Like, I think
coffin of their comfort zone.
That's not where life is. It is like, cool, you might technically have a pulse, but you're not alive if you're just living in the coffin of your comfort zone. But you get
life is out here where the risk is.
100%.
And the pain. That's where you learn.
And that's where you grow. Like a comedian, they get on stage for the first time. Like, it's a 10 out of 10 discomfort. Or you're trying a new joke. That's uncomfortable. Or you're asking the girl out or the guy out who, you think is out of your league. You're getting uncomfortable. Like, nobody has ever sat there in their comfort zone and said, I feel really alive now.
That's true.
We feel alive and we grow when we're outside of our comfort zone. Yet, I think and I would say this is a mind program where for decades they've been trying to convince Americans and people around the world, comfort is your friend. If something's uncomfortable, it's going to be bad for you. And, self-responsibility, don't worry about that. Just depend on the government. And I think that's what keeps people weak because
it sure does.
If they convince themselves, I have an allergy to discomfort, then they're going to keep themselves in the coffin of the comfort zone, which means they're going to keep themselves weak because we get stronger when we're willing to be uncomfortable. We get stronger when we're willing to say what we know is true, even though it might get us canceled. It might go against the grain.
Absolutely. Because when you break, you get scar tissue, which makes you stronger.
Absolutely.
You don't get stronger without breaking.
Absolutely.
And then learning how to put yourself back together. You just don't grow without that. And you don't do none of that without risk. And people who think they're so happy, I hate happy. You know, I just hate that happy. I hate that.
We should just clip that there. I hate happy.
Yeah.
Roseanne Barr.
I'm anti-happy.
The happy people, I'm like,
Yes.
you are blind, deaf. You're just not even here.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that I can't stand is people who talk about forgiveness all the time because they ain't nothing but guilty.
Yeah.
I want to put that together. They ain't nothing but guilty because not one of them ever talks about asking for forgiveness for something bad they did. They never say that.
Yeah.
They're always hiding some shit.
They are.
Excuse me.
But how beautiful is it when you see someone actually own up, take responsibility, and say, "Hey, I did this.
Right.
I'm sorry." It is so powerful.
I
But
wouldn't
it takes.
know. I've never seen that.
Yeah,
When have you seen that?
that's a good question. I do it sometimes in my life. I
I've
avoid
done
it
it
other
once
times.
or twice.
But like, there's a great book called what the hell by Jocko Willink. The hell is it?
I can look it up if you.
Extreme ownership.
Okay.
Good leaders take extreme ownership. If something goes wrong, even if they themselves didn't do it, they're the first ones to raise their hand and say, "That's my fault. Maybe I didn't lead my people correctly. Maybe
Right.
I made a bad decision." But when you see someone do that, like, first of all, that's so uncomfortable for them to do. If someone's just committed to living in the coffin of their comfort zone, they're not going to do that.
No, they're not the balls.
But someone with actual courage and they've got a service mindset, they'll get uncomfortable. They'll own it. But the cool thing is, how much more do you trust someone when you've watched them own a mistake they've made, they've taken responsibility, they've apologized? You actually trust those people. But
Yeah.
when you have a dipshit like Hunter's dad, where, like, cool, he's ruined everything under the sun, the Afghanistan withdrawal, the border inflation,
Walking.
$20 million accidentally in his bank account,
Yeah.
take zero ownership, and you don't trust him.
Right.
For good reason. You don't
Yeah,
trust
for real
him.
good reason.
Yeah.
Not the Dems, though.
No.
They're like, at least he's not Trump. At least he didn't try to make peace with the Jews and the Arabs.
Yeah. What do you like
That's
best?
half of our fundraising, for God's sake. He's got to go.
Yeah. What
They're
do you like
nothing but
best about?
warmongers.
They are.
They're haters.
They are.
And then they put the worst thing they can find out there, which, you know, manipulators of children, they got to go. They got to go.
I don't know how anything but the death penalty is appropriate for that.
Right.
I'm not necessarily a huge death penalty guy, but just when someone uses children,
I don't believe the state should kill them. I say general population in prison.
You used to say make him marry Tom Arnold, is what you
Yeah.
said.
Right. No, that was Osama bin Laden. His poem.
Whoever. You have to live with fucking Rob Reiner for 6 months.
Oh yeah, you have to have dinner with Rob Reiner
Listen to him talk.
or Stephen King.
Yeah.
God,
he's gone off the loony end lately.
he's
hasn't
nutty.
He?
And then I found this thing. He wrote a book, and it's about. It was Doctor something, and it's this doctor who gets these kids. Check this out. And he drains their spirits, where that's his food, his loosh. He gets children and makes them captive, and then drains their spirits to make him stronger and younger. Hello, adrenochrome.
Right.
No wonder he's all jacked up over Trump.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Have you seen his tweets?
Stephen King.
Yeah.
I hear, like, when I listen to Joe Rogan's podcast, a lot of times they'll talk about it. So I've heard about some of them, but they're nutty.
Yeah.
I mean, here
Trump is the worst thing since. Oh my
there are
God.
people really brainwashed. I used to be a little brainwashed about Trump. Like back in the 2016 election, I'm not proud to say it, but I didn't vote. If
I didn't either.
Did vote, I would have voted for Trump. My thought was just like Hillary, who you're pictured with right here, which is probably evidence of a lot of crimes. I might burn that picture if I were you.
Oh, I gave a ton to the Dems back then.
Did
Ton.
you?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
gave them all my hard-earned
Lifelong Democrat
dollars.
over here.
And
My parents, too.
one of the beautiful things about you, and to me it's a great quality about other people, is someone who's willing to change their mind.
Yeah. That's life.
It's a rare commodity nowadays, but it's a sign of strength. It's so simple, but it really is a sign of strength because it's so rare. But anyway, back in 2016, my biggest thing was like, hey, I'm just afraid of Hillary. I think she is crooked. I don't want her in office. So I'd rather have Trump in office. But, he's a racist and he's other things that I heard the media say. And I never really watched the news back then, but I would hear stuff. And then when COVID hit, I'm watching the way Trump is, and I'm watching a lot of the establishment rail against him, even though they already had. And I'm like, all right, wait, I like what this guy's saying when I listen to what he's saying, not hearing other people tell me. So
like
I started
say what's it called?
hydroxychloroquine.
Hydroxychloroquine, saying that's a great thing.
Yeah,
Oh, they tried to kill him for that. And ivermectin.
and those things save
And sunlight.
lives. Yeah, and
Sunlight.
sunlight. And he did say maybe we can inject Lysol.
No, he
No,
did not
he
say
didn't.
that.
He said something about Lysol.
No,
No,
he said
there
what-
was a stuff. Well,
I'm not even going to go into
no,
it.
he said there was some exciting evidence that certain things happen, and which was true. It was a
And
real
it ended
study.
up to
And they're
be
like, he
true.
wants you to drink bleach.
Yeah. Well, they said Joe was taking horse tranquilizers.
Oh, they just approved ivermectin for COVID. Do you
I
know
know,
that?
the bastard.
Which is kind of like, fuck you guys. We've
Fuck
already
you.
been taking it.
We know what you did.
And we don't need your permission. It is good the general people who kind of like do as they say. It is good that it's approved. But
I
man,
mask shame some people without knowing it because I do have a mild form of Tourette's.
So uncomfortable.
I think you can just blame your condition. But yeah.
Well, I try to control it because that's the real thing is self-control. Everybody can go around talking about they this and that and they did that and this, but nobody can control their own self. That's real self-mastery is all that matters. That's the real war. The real spiritual war, right?
well said.
So these people come in. I was at the Comedy Store because I want to talk to you about comedy. And these two comics I remember from 150 years ago. They're a couple now, I guess. I guess they're different genders, but anyway. So they come in and they're both wearing a friggin' mask. And this was just in November of last year, when it was already over. And I couldn't help myself. Plus, I'd been drinking. And I go, what the F are you doing? You're wearing masks. And they got all tender in their feelings. And they go, yes, we are wearing masks, Roseanne. They almost start crying. And they go, I don't feel comfortable here. Let's leave. And they are comics.
That's incredible. Comics who are intended to mock everything.
Right.
Like, mock what you believe, mock what you don't believe, just mock everything.
Right.
And they couldn't take
And
it.
starting
That's
with yourself
interesting.
and your dumbass mask.
Exactly.
Right?
I was just on I think it's a Reddit community. Someone showed me, I got into it. It's a zero COVID community where these people are still, late summer of 2023, still extremely committed to living in as social isolated as possible, always masking up, like people posting like, hey, I need to get a roommate, but a roommate who still will mask because, we're all in the middle of this deadly pandemic.
Oh, my God.
It's incredible to see some people still so committed to living out of fear. And also at a deeper level, man, I feel sorry for them
I do
because
too.
living out of fear, that's the worst quality of life.
Yeah, it
We
is.
all know
That'll kill you. Literally kill you.
Because those
agreed.
fear chemicals, whew,
Yeah, it's
it
You
eats
get
your liver.
elevated cortisol.
Yeah.
Cortisol accelerates
It's
your
the number
aging,
one
eats
killer,
your brain.
actually, is stress and anxiety. The number one killer of humans.
Is that right?
Yeah,
I believe
absolutely.
it.
Think about it. Everything can be attributed to stress and anxiety. Heart disease, fucking you name
They're
it.
trying to kill us. Let's just be real.
And talk
they're
about
taking bets on how we're going to die too. Like this many will go of cancer. You know the Bible thing: who by fire, who by flood.
Yeah.
You know who by disease. Then they're taking bets on it.
I believe. Do you know who Dr. David Martin is? And I believe this was him that said it. Please forgive me if I'm quoting the wrong person. But with people, so many people allegedly dying all of a sudden from who knows what.
Global warming.
Yeah, it's probably you're
Allegedly.
18 having a heart attack. Probably is global warming. But on that trend, he's saying in the next, what the heck was it, like 5 or 8 years, we'll have somewhere between 50 and 100 million people dying because global warming can take a while in the system. I mean, some people just drop dead pretty quick. But
They say they're coming out with an inoculation for global warming, which I'm really looking forward to that. The bad thing is you got to take it right in your eyeball. But I'm willing to do it.
Seriously?
No.
Oh.
But anyway, Dr. David Martin.
Does she always tell
Lie.
jokes?
Yeah, it's like who said it was pathological with you? Somebody said it was pathological.
Michael Malice.
Yeah.
He said you're pathological for telling jokes?
Yeah,
Her
I can't
humor is
quit.
pathological. It's not like she's not a comedian. It's a good time. It's like there's something wrong. It just can't. She can't
I
stop.
can't
he
turn
was-
it off.
He was probably right.
I think he is.
1,000% was he right. That's her coffin of comfort.
That is my comfort
Yeah,
cover.
probably mine
I
too.
like to say it serious to see how people will, when they get that, their eyes kind of twinkle. Oh, they're like, she is crazy.
Isn't it beautiful seeing that state of confusion in people?
Yeah.
I don't know if she's being serious. If she is, she's crazy. Or I don't know if she's joking, and they just don't know. It's masterful to get
Thank
people
you.
there.
I love it. I used to do it on TV all the time for my, like when I was on the panels after the talk shows, do it all the time. And I love to throw the host off, you know. They were really easy to throw off, those guys. Well, their shit's over. You know, they
Yeah.
was out having their thing about the writer's strike. It was so funny to me, and they said, pretty soon all the scripts are going to be written by artificial intelligence. And, you know, I'm pissed at them because they all turned me into the Gestapo. And I said, that's great, because they'll be way funnier than you fuckers are. It'll be great. They'll actually know how to construct a joke. But anyways,
Yeah, instead of just changing the color of the character,
yeah.
like they'll actually
But
write
I
jokes.
wanted to talk to you because you were saying you're going out on tour 2 times a month for 2
Yeah.
weekends. I go, hey, how many shows do you do on a weekend? I thought he was going to say 4, 9.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, oftentimes, you know, a light weekend is usually 5 shows, and then sometimes doing upwards of 10 shows. Just, you know, if they keep selling out, the club will ask, do you want to add another show? Yeah. Do you want to add another show? Yeah. Like I love doing it.
Talk about pathological.
I know, a little bit. Isn't it?
Yeah, and you say you enjoy it. You don't care if you do it 10
I
times.
do. Yeah, the in one weekend, the most amount of shows I've done is 15.
Jeez.
And that was, you know, and they're 60-minute sets. That 15 shows, that was, the heck was it? Tacoma, Washington, maybe a year and a half ago. And it was like everybody was still doing half capacities in clubs. So it was really easy to sell the shows out. And the club's going to, like, they're bringing me in the club and their staff, they're hurting because they've been through this whole BS of close down your business. So if people still wanted to come out and see me and I want to do something to help support the club, I just kept saying, yes, like half capacity shows, let's do as many as we can. So we did 15 that weekend.
Good Lord.
Which was, you know, it was hard, but it makes it so now if I'm doing 5 shows in a weekend, makes it feel like a really light workload. I remember years ago, the first weekend I did 4 shows, like 2 on Friday, 2 on Saturday. It about killed me. After the first show, I was just like,
How you going to do 2?
yeah. But yeah, it's just such a great joy to be able to be with people in person, doing the dance, human connection.
Yeah. watching people laugh, isn't it the greatest?
It is.
And knowing you brought them to it.
Yeah, out of everything I get to do, being there live with an audience, it's by far the most satisfying.
I think so too.
You know way better than me. You've been at it way longer. It's like a dance. And if you have the microphone, you're leading the dance. It's just, man, there's no higher joy.
I love it. I'm going to go tonight and do a Kill Tony.
Yes.
But that's my favorite thing, to see new comics and then try to find something good to say to them. Because everybody likes to roast young ones. But so I try to be the mom and say something good.
Oh, you do? That's awesome.
Yeah,
so you help
I
build
try
them up while Tony and some of the other guys are
Oh,
tearing
the
them
other
down.
guys. Tony's the assassin.
He's good at it, too.
But, yeah, because, I'm too rich and famous to be roasting anybody new.
Yeah, that would be
just
really
cruel.
shitty if you just sat there and be like, "You suck." To some
I
fun
would
trying
do
to
it
start-
if they were professional comics.
Well, yeah, you should actually, but no, these are.
Yeah.
Well, you've seen this.
Well,
show.
I do roast the comics up in the green room.
No, you humanize Tony Hinchcliffe, which is not an easy thing to do.
He's a sweetheart.
He is, but I'm talking Tony the performer. He's one of the worst, most vile people I've ever seen.
He's a serial killer.
Yeah,
He really is.
He is.
Cold-blooded.
We got
He dares, and that's what's great. Talk about the risk. I mean, he's there to push the envelope all the way over the cliff.
Oh, his
I
George
just
Floyd joke. Have you heard it?
Don't even bring it up.
No.
No.
Okay, it's really good.
No,
though.
you can't repeat.
I'll tell you
other
off the
people's
air. Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
off the
I'll tell
air.
you off the air.
And when you're doing Kill Tony, and for people that don't know, it's new comics or sometimes people who have never even done comedy.
Yeah, they get 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
I think it's 1 minute.
Oh, is it 1 minute?
I think it is 1
Christ,
minute.
it feels like 3.
So
that's Johnny's fault.
apparently hundreds of people sign up, and just a handful get their names drawn to go on stage for their 1 minute set that night in front of a panel of comedians.
Yeah,
including,
it's the meanest.
when you see a new comedian go up, do you get nervous? Like I get so uncomfortable watching someone, because they're doing one of the more uncomfortable things you can
but they're
imagine.
daring to do it.
They are.
Like that thing that all credit goes to the man in the arena.
Yes.
So I respect that
They're
they
daring.
took a step into the arena, which is the death arena.
Yeah.
Because you're risking death.
Going in with a lion.
Yeah, and it's a big ass lion too,
Yeah.
with many heads. But they're doing it, so I respect all of that the balls, or whatever you want to call it, the courage to do it. So I love all comics. It's a certain breed of human.
Yeah, it is. Present day, who are some of your favorite comics?
Oh my God, I'm so bad on names. I see all their faces flashing in front of my...
J.P. Sears, I think is how you pronounce
J.P.
his
Sears.
Never heard of him.
name. But
He got me... Your show, my interview with you, that got us the most views of any show I've ever done. So
wow.
thank you.
I'm honored.
Everyone loves you. I heard of you through my friend Kathy O'Brien. She's like, because I was depressed after they tried to assassinate me. They did assassinate my character and my character. But Kathy would say, you've got to watch J.P. Sears. This guy's going to lift up your spirits. And I was at her house, So she put you on. And I roared. I go, oh my God, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I was so happy because I thought they had shut us all down. But there you were, like a beacon of light. And so I was very thrilled to interview you now twice. You've been a wonderful guest.
Oh, well, thank you for that. And thank you for strengthening my narcissism.
I was going to give you a clue for the narcissism, as the Bible says. The thing about the human is that its most overwhelming desire is to receive the soul. And there's two kinds of ways to receive. There's it's desire, really. Desire to receive. That's what the human is about. The soul. And so there's two ways to do it. There's desire to receive for myself alone. That's ego. Which in Hebrew means Satan.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And then the godly way is the desire to receive for myself in order to share.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And it's triangulation of all that we are down here to fight. And so, like you say, to be of service. And that is what comedy's always been to me, is to be of service, to make people think just a little and do that breathing out together.
Yeah.
Because it's real magic. I mean, I hate to use the word magic, but it's transcendent.
It is. And you know, before we were on air, we were talking about creativity and how creativity is an act of receiving, where I believe we receive a message, an idea from God.
Yeah.
We receive it and then we share.
Yeah.
Which is a beautiful way to share, and a beautiful way of being of service, and a beautiful way of helping shine God's light as best we can.
Yeah, like when I'm doing something that occupies my physical body, that's when God will put the best jokes in my head, like especially when I'm digging weeds. I won't ever be sitting down at a table so much as writing it. But when I'm doing something in the earth, growing something or helping somebody, it really comes in. Bing. And I always go, thank you. Of course, I take credit for it.
Of course.
And he knows I'm going to. So, he's all right with it.
What's your process, JP, when you come up with a video idea or comedy?
Yeah,
Do you write every day?
I do. And I have different processes for video writing versus stand-up.
Yeah.
They're like super different. With video writing, I've just got a block of time, usually 8 a.m. to 11 a.m., where that's my writing time. Mm-hmm. And I've got a production schedule of like a lot of videos being released. So I've had to get in the routine and kind of train my mind. This is when we're doing creativity. And I think it's not so much, hey, I'm training my mind to be creative. I think it's more training my mind to allow the creativity to come through. Where
it's a muscle for sure.
It is. And anyway, so with comedy videos, I'm typically fairly topical as of late, where what's going on in the world, what are the lies, hypocrisy, and corruption that I want to mock in video. Mm-hmm. So when I feel an emotion about something, Carl Jung said, feelings are the language of the soul. Mm-hmm. So when I feel an emotion about some given topic, I know, all right, that's a video idea. Mm-hmm. And I might be picking up chicken eggs or pulling weeds. So I'll make a note in my phone, just one line, here's the idea. And then in the mornings, I'll write it out. And then with stand-up, my process it sounds like more similar to yours, where the ideas will come to me usually when I'm distracted by doing some kind of mundane task. And then I just open up the notes in my phone and at the very least write down the basis of the idea. And then I'll go back and just start playing around with like, how could this be funny? Or where do I want to go? And then, of course, test driving it on stage, and it's like, well, that one was definitely shit. On to the next, or working it out a little bit more. So I'm curious for you, when you're pulling weeds, you get an idea. What's your process from there?
Well, I file it, and then it's all in my head, I rarely put it on paper or write it. I file it in my head, and then when I get about 5 on the same subject, I'll start thinking about it. Like, it takes a long time, and then it just forms itself. Like while I'm doing something else, it'll go bing, 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 like in Vegas when you pull the lever and it's 5 cherries. It'll just start lining up. Bing, 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 bing. Oh, I see. I can start with that bit, weave these jokes through it, and then end up here and also here. It's a file, but it forms itself after a while of thinking about it.
And that's all in your head, like those 5 ideas on the one topic. You're just remembering them and weaving them together.
There's like
and they'll come at like backwards. they come backwards, because my first thing was I wanted to make fun of women and the women of today, the young women, and them, how they're shitty mothers and they're just upset, you know. So all those ideas will come. And then like the stuff about satanic mind control of women, that'll come in. And so that comes out. And then what they're doing to women and what women are talking about and what they look like. And then it'll just all form into a whole bit where I'm like, just go up there and talk about women. And I try it on stage and see if they'll like it.
Yeah.
You know, like I said last time I was on stage, how many witches are here tonight? You know, and they're all going for it. They all think they're a witch, you know. So then I just break it down from there.
You've got a better memory than I do.
Yeah, and I'm afraid because they say people with memories like mine, I have total recall.
Do you?
That's who gets the Alzheimer's.
Really?
Yeah, we're more at risk than...
Dang.
Yeah, so I'll probably end up shitting in the plants.
Well, I saw you
And
shit
does.
in that plant over there.
Yeah,
I thought that was just you were welcoming me into your home.
You know what?
Yes,
One thing people don't know
Alzheimer's.
about your process, because I've been with you the whole time, is you're actually, I consider you like an editor. I think
Yeah,
you
I am
like
an
the
editor.
sort of obsessive compulsive thoughts, and then you like to pare it down. I think you enjoy the editing process.
Oh, I do. I'm a great editor. I used to...
You are.
I love editing. Oh, my God, I do.
I think
And-
that's how you do comedy.
And are you talking
Film.
editing?
I like
in
to
your head?
edit
Oh,
film,
okay,
too.
gotcha.
Both
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Computer editing.
Like I
or-
can take a script and when I was on Roseanne and just edit the shit out of it to get to the gold and
Okay.
then change this
She's
and
the
make a
best at
joke
it.
out of it. I can make a Hollywood script funny.
Oh, you can.
I
didn't know
did
that
it
was
for
possible
9 years.
to
No,
make
it
a
wasn't
Hollywood script
possible.
funny.
I think that's why they fired me because I think they hate Trump because he's funny, because they hate humor, because they have no humor. And so
Yeah.
I think that's why they went after me because I came back and was #1 again, 28 million viewers, and that people thought it was funny, and they're like, that bitch is funny.
Yeah.
We got to get rid of her ass because she tells truthful things.
Something that's actually funny. It's delivering truth.
Yes.
In one form or another. Just
Yes.
the truth principle in comedy, #1 thing. And
They was mad when I beat up that kid. They were mad when I said, no, I got to beat her ass because they didn't want me to beat the granddaughter's ass. But she was so disrespectful to my face in the scene. I go, there's no way that I'm just going to verbally admonish her.
Yeah.
I'm going to beat her ass. And I did, and they kept telling me that we can't have that. I go, you're going to have it, and I'm going to do it every time. I'm the executive producer of this show. And so they go, she's uncontrollable.
Well, and on that note, question for you, for a little context. I think of Tucker Carlson being fired by Fox.
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked he lasted as long as he did.
I was too. I kept on saying that.
Yeah. And now it seems like he was taken out of a box where even just the view counts, him publishing his show on Twitter, sometimes
83 million?
yeah, and sometimes I think 120 million
Oh,
views
yeah.
on one show.
Yeah.
And no restrictions, no one to answer to. He's not just on Fox. It's
Yeah, he
the
rose
world.
to the occasion too.
Yeah.
His content got even braver.
Yes. So I see someone like that. It appears as though, oh, this is bad. He got fired. I'd say no, he was set free. Now
That's
he's
what I told him.
he's going to be already is way bigger. And I look at you in a similar light where I think you were set free when they fired
too.
you. And I'm curious
Yeah,
if
I
that's
look
true
at
for
it.
you.
Yeah, I look at it to where God took me out of Egypt and slavery, and I wandered in the desert for a while, and then I was led into the promised land, which is true creative freedom, and I own it.
Yeah.
Nobody in a suit is going to come and tell me nothing. I mean, they'll take me to the gulag and probably whatever, and fire me and get me deplatformed off. But I try to say good things. I always wanted to do that in my career, was to uplift rather than demean. I don't think demeaning people's funny.
No, it can get I would call it like, that's...
Except Lizzo.
Lowbrow.
You can get a laugh out of it, but yeah, you're bringing people down. So I love your mindset of using humor to uplift people, because people
Breaks
need
chains. Breaks chains.
Meanwhile, every week we're talking about like child trafficking and like just horrible shit every week.
Tune in to
The
be
end of the
uplifted.
country. Yeah,
There's the worst
this
thing
is
going
the
on
most
in the world.
uplifting
Well, it is
podcast on the
uplifting
internet.
to see how you got to fight the devil.
Yeah.
It's not uplifting to go, oh, I want to show that clip of Al.
I want to. We got to talk about this more, but I think now's a good time to do this ad, and then we'll get into it, because we have to. He said so many good things at the beginning about kind of what you're talking about, Tucker. About
I didn't interrupt him a lot.
no,
did
you've
I?
been great.
You just
So-
interrupted Jake, though.
yeah,
I
she
know,
interrupts
but
me. She didn't
He
say she
weighed
wasn't
10
gonna.
pounds when I had him, so I don't have any. He has nothing.
The comments on this show, like 50% of the comments are, "Please let Jake finish his sentence." She's never gonna. I love it. It's an honor to be interrupted by you. But anyway, let's take a little break. You've been chewing on this toothpick all episode.
I've had 6 of them.
I know these are actually.
These are good. They help. Look at Zippix Toothpicks podcast script.
Yeah, you're
Hey,
gonna,
I'm just like Joe Biden now. This episode is brought to you by Zippix Nicotine Toothpicks. They bring you a totally satisfying, convenient, and great tasting way to curb your nicotine cravings. I'm attesting to that. I've had 6 of them in this hour.
Will you get closer to the microphone? Sorry.
Don't you think it's time you stop putting smoke and vape oils in your lungs? I do.
I do.
Now you can get your nicotine fix anytime, anywhere without having to rely on smoking or vaping. These toothpicks give you an easier, healthier, and more discreet way to get your fix. They don't stink either. They're available in 6 great flavors, and they have options in 2 milligrams and 3 milligrams of nicotine. Zippix are perfect for flights, sporting events, restaurants, and literally everywhere else that smoking and vaping are banned. They're also one of the most cost-effective nicotine products on the market. Zippix also offers caffeine and B12 infused toothpicks if you're not a nicotine user or if you're trying to get away from your nicotine habit. These here are energy, caffeine, and B12 infused. I like them.
Yeah, they work. Sorry.
Zippix have already helped tens of thousands of customers in leading a healthier lifestyle, and if you currently smoke or vape, they can probably help you too. Make your lungs happy. And try Zippix nicotine toothpicks. Ditch the cigarettes, ditch the vape, and get some nicotine-infused toothpicks at zippixtoothpicks.com today. Get 10% off on your first order by using the code Roseanne at checkout. Your lungs will be so glad you did. You must be 21 years old to order. Zip more, smoke less with Zippix nicotine toothpicks.
Don't. You're gonna have a heart. You're gonna have a heart attack like people that got vaccinated. Be careful. Allegedly.
You're going to have to erase that.
No, that was
They're good, though.
It's a great ad read, but we have to talk about it for a second, not for the ad, but because I really want.
Would you like one?
You should try one from the white bag.
Yeah, those might have tobacco in them, though, JP.
No, wait. They don't all have...
No, it'll tell you if it says it's a nicotine suspect.
I can't read. I don't have my glasses. Look at all these.
But I gotta say, so they sent us these, and I have a problem with smoking.
Well, I don't think these have nicotine.
No, it'll tell. Those
think-
don't. Those are
Urban flavor.
Yeah, those are B12. I used these nicotine ones, Ma, and I didn't smoke for 3 days.
That's so great.
It really does work because it's like Nicorette or nicotine gum, but it doesn't stink.
I don't think the ones I've been eating had any nicotine, but they still help.
No, the ones
Yeah,
with
I don't think
nicotine
those do.
are strong. You'll feel it. You'll feel it in your throat, and it will curb your need for a cigarette. You should actually try one. I'm not even joking.
I haven't done the
No,
the
do the
nicotine
tobacco,
one.
but it
Okay.
might. It's strong. But what I like about it is
Smart, sweet wood, it says.
the important thing that why I like Zippix and this company. Yeah, there you go. Is vaping is actually, in my opinion, and a lot of doctors, worse for you than smoking
I
cigarettes.
told my daughter that. She goes,
is.
I don't smoke, I vape. I go, vaping is way worse.
It
and
is.
then she got the big bulge eyes like AOC and and what's his name?
She got the MK Ultra eyes from the vaping.
What makes vaping worse?
Well, it's liquid vape. It's there's things called
Pure
popcorn
nicotine.
lung. I don't know if you've heard of popcorn lung.
have,
yeah. And then there's that is true. The bug eyes thing is, I mean, allegedly, but there is science to back it up. That it actually breaks down the muscles around your eyes, so you get like that Graves Barbara Bush look.
Wow.
My daughter got that.
But this is just so like this is just pure nicotine. What you're eating now,
Oh, okay.
and pure nicotine, it's not. I'm not going to say, hey, it's great for you, but it's really not that bad. It's the shit in the cigarettes, the shit in the vape pens. That's
yeah,
what
there's
actually
like
kills you.
400 chemicals in the
Yeah,
cigarette.
this is just pure nicotine, and it's.
I love it.
Watch, it'll get you through, so you don't have to stop the podcast to smoke now.
I've heard a neuroscientist talk about how just pure nicotine, it's actually good for the brain. It creates neurogenesis.
Yeah.
Taking it away from cigarettes, just nicotine.
Yeah.
I think there's something to it.
There definitely is. And the bottom line, even if it's not good for you, nicotine's fucking awesome, and I'm addicted. So if this is a better way for me, and plus I can chew this around my 2-year-old and not worry about secondhand smoke or her
Wait
getting
till she
addicted.
starts chewing them.
She has her own. This is for Olivia. This is her own little. No, I'm just kidding. But Zippix also sends these cool little things where you can keep your toothpicks.
Yeah, it's burning my throat. I can
Yeah,
feel
it's too
that.
strong. But anyway,
Well, let's eat.
Let's get back. No, we still have shit to talk about.
Oh, okay,
Food's not
good.
even here. It's really important that I ask JP like a couple questions. If that's
Go
okay.
for it.
Well, you said a couple things that stood out to me early on when you were talking about how Satan disguises himself, and you said, of course, he's not going to come out and be like, "Yeah, I'm evil. I'm going to do sorts of evil shit." So it sounded to me that you were saying one flag of something to be wary of is if it comes in the cloak of being good for humanity, which is a difficult argument to make. But wouldn't you say that if Satan were going to be in the political sphere of America, that he probably would side more with the Democrat
What,
Party?
the communists?
Right? Can we talk about that a
Satan's
little
a
bit?
commie, I think, don't you?
Yeah, I do think communism is an expression of pure evil. You look at what they've done; they kill
That's what I want to
Hundreds
talk
of
millions
million.
of people.
about. Yeah, let's get into it.
and they deprive people from freedom, their free will. So
Owning anything.
Say that again.
Owning anything.
Owning anything, and
You'll be happy.
communism. It tries to get you to make the government into your god. Mm-hmm. Now, God probably wants you to just have God as your God. Like
Right.
everybody wins when that's the case. So I read, I'm going to slightly butcher the statistics, but it's going to be somewhat accurate. Since 1960s, the amount of Democrats who believe in God, the percentage has dropped dramatically. It was from like about 90%. Now it's 68%.
Wow.
Whereas you look at the Republicans, and the statistics are, again, slight grain of salt here, like 98% of Republicans in the 1960s believed in God, and now it's like 94, 92%. So slight drop there. But the Democrats, it's been a dramatic drop.
Right.
And I do think evil Satan, he'll go wherever he wants to go. And yes, there's so much corruption on, in the Republican side of politics for sure.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
And in the future, I'm sure we'll see a ramp up where the major corruption's back with the Republicans.
The good old days.
The good old days. But as of now, it does seem as though Satan's got his slimy little paw up the asses of Democrats, using them as puppets more so than Republicans.
Yeah, he switches it up to keep us off our toes.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the pendulum swings and yeah, so you also look at a lot of Democrats in office, they're not Democrats, they're communists.
Yeah.
And there's no question about it. Communism is an expression of Satan. There's a reason why Communism 101, one of the first things they do is try to disconnect the population from God.
Right.
Ban religion, outlaw 'em, ban the Bible. You can't have another God if we want you to have the government as your God.
The China CCP. That's what they do.
Absolutely. And then I think the other thing is why they're so excited to get people to not believe in God is if you believe in God, then you certainly have a belief of some kind of afterlife. And if you have a belief in the afterlife, like, oh, I'll be with God forever, it's amazing, you're not going to fear death as
Right.
much as an atheist view where this is it. Once the lights go out, they're out forever. There's nothing. You'll be much more controllable with the fear of death over you. And all the fear mongering, it's leveraging the fear of death. If you extrapolate it, like, hey, COVID's going to get you. Obviously,
Right.
Climate change. Well, you're concerned about the climate? No, you're really concerned about we're all going to die. We're all going to boil to death if, we don't change the climate. So they leverage the fear of death over people, and it works way better. You're able to control more people when they don't have a firm belief in God.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I do think the devil is working more through the Democratic side.
Also,
right
you're
now.
not thinking big picture. You're not thinking like,
Also,
there's a plan
you-
here. It's just
Yeah,
like, I
or
got to
the
do whatever they
purpose.
tell me. I got to get through tomorrow.
Yeah.
God, if you have God, you think longer term. You think bigger
Also,
scale.
you don't think God made a mistake and put you in the wrong body.
That's
Right.
huge. That's a huge one right now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's anger at God. I never thought about that.
And I think if you
It
can,
separates kids from God.
Oh my God,
So does
you're onto
abuse.
something. Yeah.
and I think if you can
Now
get
we're jamming.
people to largely believe, yeah, sometimes God makes mistakes, put me in a man's body, but I'm actually a woman. I actually know more than God. God made a mistake. This isn't me making a mistake.
Thank
thinking
God for
wrong.
Klaus Schwab and Monsanto. They'll correct God's mistakes for me.
They're kind of playing it that way, aren't they? So if you get people to believe you can be born in the wrong body, even if you're not discussing God in the conversation, subliminally, you're getting the message across there isn't really a God. Because if there was a God, he's not going to mistakenly put people in the wrong body.
Right.
So I do, it's just like that.
That must be why they've glommed onto the trans movement so much. Allegedly, that's a good theory, at least.
Yeah, I do think it's a part of it. I do think
It's a psyop.
It's very much a psyop.
On Twitter, it's a big psyop, and they've targeted me for years, over and over. I just finally quit listening, but it gets people talking about something that you don't have to know one thing in the world, no background, no education. You don't have to know anything to parrot the lines they give you, and then you'll take your eyes off China building missile launchers in Cuba right now. You'll never know about that. You won't be interested in that.
Yeah.
Or the next pandemic. Or counting the votes fairly. You won't care none of that because you'll say, you're a cis.
Yeah.
You'll know all that, but you won't have a day's worth of education to get there.
Yeah.
Because it's false science. It has no peer review nor control group. It's fake, I call it Monsatan science.
Yeah.
They're all bought off, and it's really horrible that they would have weaponized science.
Speaking of which, do you know who Neil deGrasse Tyson is?
Yeah, that
Have you
guy.
been listening to any of the BS he's been saying lately?
Yeah,
We
he's
talked about it with
100% BS.
That guy, he's sold out. Here he is,
They got to him.
like a
He used to
man
sound
of
smart.
science.
Yeah.
Yeah, he used to be. I think he's still smart. He's just willing to look stupid because he's saying stupid things to do the bidding of his masters.
Which
where-
is smart, because that's what's going to keep him funded and working. I mean,
That's
we're
how
getting
you get
deplatformed
money.
and ruined, and he's out there probably making an extra $3 million a year by saying this shit.
Probably, but he has to go to sleep with himself every night.
I don't think it bothers any of them.
I don't think so either. Because
They're like, cha-ching.
Well, if
That's
it's
all,
Satan,
I'm getting me a new car. Cha-ching. They don't care.
they don't.
They don't care about the lives they ended or screwed up.
Or worse, they think that this is what I was trying to get at. They think that they're protecting a victimized class. They're stepping up for people that are being abused. So that is a good intention, but the road to hell is paved in good intentions. And for a scientist to be pushing this sort of agenda because he thinks, I'm helping trans kids that are struggling in school. I know that's what he's
Yeah,
thinking.
I'm helping trans boys never to have an arm.
But, back in Nazi Germany, people...
They were helping with the trains on time.
Yeah, people turning their neighbors in thought they were doing the right thing. They thought they were helping.
Well, that's what I'm tying
As
up.
my Uncle Sherman just departed this earth, his famous thing he used to say to us kids when we said, I thought I was doing the, he goes, you know what thought did? That's what he'd always tell us kids. You thought you had to fart, but you shoot your breds.
Wisdom right
words,
there. But, even though there's all this weaponized morality trying to get people to do the right thing that's actually a destructive thing, or you get a useful idiot like Neil deGrasse Tyson, I think a good way to inoculate ourselves from not propagating evil that's disguised as angelic activity is, one, do our own critical thinking.
Yeah.
Two, be very in touch with our heart, our conscience, conscience, our soul, because they can't censor that. You can be distracted from it, but if you're in touch with your heart, your conscience, at the very least, you'll be like, something feels off here. You don't know how to. You don't need to explain it more than that. You just know something feels off here, and then once you do that, you have the awareness of it. If you've got a little bit of courage, then you can act on that instead of acting on the useful idiot track.
Right. I always thought it was about nobody can stop you from getting better. That's great. If you get the desire or the fear that you can't get better or more learned or more intelligent, then that tells you something. Because you should always be trying to grow.
Yeah, we're humans. I don't care who you are, what your circumstances are. We're more powerful than we think we are.
Yeah, we are. We definitely are.
And the Klaus Schwabs of the world, I don't think they want us in touch with that power.
No.
Because it's much easier to have power over people when people forget how dang powerful they actually are and how they're connected to a higher power, which is beyond imagination.
Yeah, they don't know what that is.
They don't.
They don't have the foggiest idea about the human spirit. They don't know what it is.
Yeah. What do you think Klaus Schwab is doing right now?
I like that Trump said it's central casting, because it is. I mean, he looks like they got central casting to get a guy that talks like that and does what he does.
Even his outfits.
With that
Have you
Yiv
seen his
Dahl,
outfits?
His boyfriend, that Yiv Dahl dude.
Oh, Dr. Noah Harari?
Yeah.
Yuval
Igor.
Harari.
Yeah, it's like an Austin Powers sequel.
It is. It's central casting.
Yeah.
We will be the gods.
You will lead crickets.
I mean, it is Austin Powers.
It's like, pull that back, guys.
Yeah.
You're kind of being a little too obvious. Just get a boring dude in a suit. They're like, no, we're going all in.
Yeah.
We got Schwab.
For the drama. Remember that guy that was the, I can't remember, the one that was in the pro shot guy, and then they had those videos of him at that party in the bikini pants, the big UN guy, the CDC head.
I never saw that.
Guy from India.
I have to look that
He's
up.
all over TV telling us about we got to do this and that for our health. And then they caught a video of him at a big gay party and he's in the bikini pants. That's why I love Anons, because they'll always find the hidden bikini pants party videos, and it's just so mockingly great, because it really is the time where we got to go, hey, the emperor has no damn clothes. He's walking around here naked, slinging his schlong in everybody's face. Go back home, sir, and put on your pants and stay there. Right?
Yes. And speaking of no pants, did you see the picture of Klaus Schwab on the beach wearing, it's like a thong and it's like a BDSM outfit? Super cool.
Was it real for sure, or was it Photoshop?
They don't have the technology to Photoshop pictures nowadays. So I am confident it's real because I want it to be real.
Yeah.
That's all you need. Belief.
You just have belief.
Yeah, it's faith.
Just like the pictures of Michelle Obama's junk.
Well, those weren't pictures. That was actually video. That's a little harder to do. When she was dancing on Ellen.
Did you see that?
I didn't see the Ellen dancing one.
Let me see if I can find it. Hold on.
No. We don't want to die.
Did you? Yeah.
I seen her I'm going into my country speak from Utah. But I saw her where she came out of dropping her girls off at Columbia or wherever it is, some MK Ultra college they go to, funded by Jeffrey Epstein and Weinstein and all the Steens. And she came out there and, she had to itch her balls. Did you see that one?
I have
She
seen
had white
that one.
sweatpants on. She had to pull the sweatpants off her balls. But I think she's a woman because
Allegedly.
I don't think any man could be that big of a bitch. I just don't. I don't think she's a
That
man.
is, you convinced me.
But
Good
the
point.
plot does thicken now on Michelle Obama being a man because
He said he makes love to men every day in his imagination.
which makes sense that he would actually want to be with a man every day. So
Well, I think he's
I
in
think
a
it's
secret-
scientific proof.
Well, when I seen those pictures of him, I'm going to the Utah Hillbilly part of me. I saw those pictures of him with Richard Branson on that boat.
Interesting. Yeah.
See, and they was fake choking each other. That's pure BDSM. And then, Allegedly. And I go, those two boys are in love. And then he was with George Clooney on a boat with a little Asian girl. Did you see that one?
No.
Yeah, that's something you should look that up. But I go, all three of them are involved in a three-way. Him, Richard Branson, and George Clooney. Allegedly. But that's how it looks to me because that is how Hollywood works. All the guys are gay. Every one of them. There's none that are straight except for John Travolta and Tom Cruise. But, they're all gay. And all the women are lesbians. And they're all witches, too. They're all in a
I
coven.
think they're above sex because it's Satan is what they're attracted to. I don't think it's sexual.
And why do you
Allegedly.
Why do you think they're all gay? Does Hollywood turn them gay, or is that part of like power,
It's
or were
part
they
of acting.
gay to begin
It's
with?
the definition of acting. I'm going to act like I'm not gay.
That is why they developed the skill, though. Because they've
Yeah.
been in the closet their whole life. They
Yeah.
developed the talent.
They come
that
from
makes
small
sense.
towns where they don't like the gays.
Also, they also do jump you into the gang of Hollywood. Let's be real. Travolta's
Yes.
on tape with his masseuse trying to get the masseuse to give him a hand job, and he's like, "Do you want to be an actor?" This is what I had. This is a true story, by the way. I don't know if you
I
guys
saw
know.
it.
No, this is true.
Allegedly. It's
Allegedly,
true.
well, the guy claimed it, but he said, "This is what
They
I had to
sued
do.
him.
This is what I had to do to get in Hollywood." And I mean,
Of course they do.
Apparently, he did it well because
he's very
Travolta's had
Yeah,
a good
you
career.
don't get in Hollywood without that. I didn't have to.
was
Nobody
gonna ask, how
ever
did you
wanted to
get
have
in the-
sex with me. So it was lucky for me.
You were the exemption.
God
exemption.
prepared a way for me by making me have no ass waist or any sort of female shape. So I was immune. But everybody else I knew, they was willingly doing it, not getting blackmailed into it. They was all a bunch of whores, men and women. They couldn't wait. Like they couldn't wait to be in a movie with somebody because they knew they was going to have sex with them, and their spouse knew they was too because that's part of doing a movie. And their spouse, because I was real nosy and always asking questions. That's why nobody likes me. But I'd say, how can you do it? Well, it's just part of, what he does when he's on a film. Well, is he ever home? Well, no, he's always doing a film. Well, how are you okay with that? Well, I have my pool boy and this and that. That's what it is. They're all swingers,
Interesting.
allegedly.
Allegedly.
That's
obviously.
my empirical.
On that note, I am looking forward to Mel Gibson's documentary where he's allegedly going to be exposing the Hollywood sex trafficking ring.
Mm-hmm.
That man, assuming he delivers on what he says he's going
He
to
will.
deliver, that man's putting his life on the line.
Yeah, and he's doing it through
amazing.
Ukraine. He's telling the Ukrainian part of it too. Trafficking through the Ukraine.
Okay, yeah.
He's
I
a
can't wait for
great
that to come
man.
He's going to commit suicide to
No,
in the
he
back of
ain't.
the, to in the back of the head.
No,
Hitler style.
he's a real deep believer.
Yeah,
I
it
think
seems
he's
like
got
it.
God's hand on him. Got some protection. A lot of people pray for him too.
Well, I would think he'd be protected and certainly doing God's work with what he's going to be doing and had some level of a hand in Sound of Freedom.
Yeah, he did. He edited the film they showed. He edited it.
Did he?
Yeah, because it was a lot different than the original. They took a lot of fat out. He's a good editor.
And Disney they bought the film, sat on it for 5 years to keep it from seeing the light of day.
Well, they all do that, you know.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah, that is.
That's all you need to know about certain companies.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, they bought it to kill it. Isn't that crazy?
And somehow not surprising. But to me, the only thing that surprises me about things like that is how obvious they are.
Yeah,
with what they're
they put
doing.
it right in your face. That's their whole thing. They got to put it in your face, and then when you don't say nothing, they go, "Well, you knew."
Yeah.
Can we talk about that before we wrap up? Because that's actually a satanic tenet that we
Yeah.
need to expose on this show. That's their version of consent.
Yes.
Do you know this? Oh, you already knew.
I've
this.
heard it, but say more.
No, it's like they make it so overt, and then if you don't have a problem with it or say something to them, that's consent. They can keep going forward. That's, I guess, the satanic.
Well, we put it right in their face, and they said nothing. So, you know, they don't care.
Yeah. And apparently that same kind of satanic consent ritual was used with everybody's favorite pharmaceutical product.
I think you can say that on YouTube, right? Or
No.
I'll edit that out. Whatever. We know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's insane.
Well, that we were all like, we're just prey. We've proven that we'll do anything. There's nothing we won't do.
Are you guys ready for this next COVID lockdown? You know what you're going to do?
I'm excited for it.
Me too. I heard they want us to this time they want us to wear a mask over our eyes.
That's what percentage of people do you think will, with the next one, weirdly, just in time for the election, I guess we need to do mail-in ballots,
That's
guys.
right.
Sorry, wish we didn't have.
We got to have those again.
What percentage of people compared to last time do you think will actually go along with the whole lockdown ritual?
The exact same percentage,
I was
if
going
not
to say
more.
the same thing.
You think so?
Yeah.
Really?
Because they'll say this one's going to be worse.
And what if they actually do make it worse?
They probably are. They're working on it.
Because the last one was...
I had
not that
COVID
bad.
4 times. It was nothing. It was a walk in the park.
Yeah.
I never would have got it if I didn't quit smoking. My kid says, you better quit smoking because, it's a lung disease, COVID. So I quit smoking, immediately got COVID. Then I read cigarette smoking helps you from getting COVID.
Oh, you're just looking out for your health.
So then I started smoking again, and I never did get COVID. But I had it 4 times when I wasn't smoking.
Yeah.
These dirty bastards, it's all just a plot to keep me on the cigarettes. But, it is all a trap, which we're rats in a maze, and they're just studying how we get out of the maze or attempt to, but there's really no doors that open.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this as a fan of both of yours, and we can wrap up, is that what you both do is really the way that we can fight back. Because you're like, what if they make COVID worse? Or what we all kind of feel powerless, the layman's like myself, the non-celebs like you two, is that seeing you guys talk about it and mock it, and like we always talk about, mocking is really the best weapon against this evil regime that's
Laughter is the
going.
best weapon.
Just keep doing what you guys are doing.
Whatever
from
you
all of
do,
us.
COVID or no COVID, keep supporting live comedy. Because, if you're going to die, you might as well die laughing.
Absolutely. And you can't be in a state of fear and laughing at the same time.
That's a good point.
And I think laughter, it's sort of like God's tickle coming through and touching our lives.
Mm-hmm. It opens you up to truth.
It does.
It does. I had something else I wanted to say before we...
Oh, did you mentioned...
Oh, I wanted you to show the Alex Jones. It's so genius.
Give me 1 second.
Let's see it.
He's mocking on the nth degree. It was godly. I wanted you to see it.
And you said you've been on this show a couple times now?
Yeah, I always go on there and pray for people to wake up, and even for the bad people to get a spark of God and open up, come back to the human beings.
I think that praying for the bad people, it's not only beautiful, I think it's necessary. And probably
it is.
like an overlooked thing. Like if we all prayed for Bill Gates and Biden to like get in touch with their soul.
Mm-hmm. If
That
they
would be
have one.
amazing.
If there's anything left that can be salvaged
Yeah.
or turned on, the humans will welcome them back after they make restitution, if that's possible, or they're taken from this world. At least they'll go with a clear conscience.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, here it is. You guys ready?
Watch this.
I'm gonna have to watch it twice because I don't know
It's
where
so
it's coming
great.
Liberal, 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 happy fun, la la la, human smuggling, fentanyl deaths, forced government euthanasia, chopping up children's genitals, la 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la.
All right,
Liberal.
That's it.
Liberal.
That should be the DNC campaign song.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, they're probably like, dude, that is pretty good.
We would like to license that. That's exactly our message.
That's really good, guys.
Isn't that great?
Oh, Alex Jones. He's a treasure.
He is a treasure. He's the reason anyone's woke up.
Yeah.
He did it all alone.
Dude, he was decades before his time. Like, so much of what he was calling out Epstein back in the early
Yeah.
2000s.
Yeah, and Bohemian Grove, he broke that story. No,
He
he's
went
legit. Yeah.
I don't know how he possibly knows the things that he knows.
Because he talks to people. His dad was connected.
Was he? Was he connected in like the government,
Yeah,
CIA
he worked
kind of thing?
in there. Yeah, he worked in the Navy or something. I can't remember, but he worked for the government, the good guys. Some of them are good, you know.
I'm sure some are.
Yeah, and I heard that a lot of the good guys are arresting the bad guys right next to him, which is cool because that's God. See, that's why I'm hopeful.
I'm glad you're hopeful. I'm hopeful too. I see just a critical mass of people waking up, and the more the tyrants do, the more they're just raising their hand. You see what they're doing. I think they're strengthening the things they try to smear.
Yep.
Like RFK Jr., the more they smear him, the more credible he is, the more people are waking up to him. Same thing with Trump. They smear the sound of freedom. It just gets massive.
You?
So
They smeared me, and but I'm too bitter to quit.
yeah.
Too bitter to quit.
I call it the Obi-Wan effect. Remember in Star Wars? If you
What's
strike me
that?
down, when Darth Vader strikes down Obi-Wan, and he says, if you kill me, I'll become more powerful than you could ever imagine. That's what they keep doing. They just keep making you guys bigger and stronger and more people listen to. It's actually the nicest thing they could do for all of you is the cancel culture. It's the best gift.
Well, that brings me to some more stuff about Satan that's in the Bible.
You
And
need to
then
get to
we'll
the
end on that and eat.
microphone a little bit closer.
This microphone?
Yeah. No,
Can
the
we
other
end
one.
on this and then
Of
eat?
course.
I'm starving. Here's the real paradox of things. Who is the being that brings the most people to God?
Probably the devil, actually.
When people are broken and he's ruined them and they got nowhere else to go, that's where they go.
Yeah.
So it's all,
So maybe Biden's a good thing.
I think he's woke up so many people, and they say that the black youth are leaving in droves, and I see them all over YouTube too. They finally escaped that mind control
Yeah.
because they thought they owned them.
It's weird how a bunch of old white guys doing the devil's bidding absolutely did think they owned the black community, the black youth. And Biden literally said it out
Yeah,
loud.
he did. Well, you
old
ain't
news,
black.
but yeah, when he was on with Charlemagne the God, you ain't black.
Oh, I
if you're
loved
voting
when
for
Larry
Trump.
Elder went on Charlemagne and dressed him down for not saying nothing about it.
I haven't watched that clip.
Oh,
it's on
it's
my
genius.
list. It's good.
Yeah, he does it with a fierce pride and dignity. It's just great because he breaks that media mind control. I'd love to have him on here.
He's down. I've talked to him.
He's always been nice to me too.
He's great, and we will have him on. I love Larry Elder. I supported his run for governor in California.
He's running for president now.
The best thing, do you remember when he was running for governor during the recall election in Newsom, and
And they
some
said he
white
was
liberal
white.
woman put on a monkey mask and threw a banana at him?
Yes.
Do you remember that?
No.
And they
Yeah.
accuse Larry
Because he was a
Elder-
white supremacist. That's what she
Yeah,
said.
and they say it's a white
As she put on a
supremacist.
monkey mask and threw a fucking banana at a black governor candidate. She
Oh,
was,
my God.
She was the anti-racist in that one.
That's like men telling women they can't have the term mothers.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's all that double backwards day upside down bill.
Well,
Yeah,
that's so they
it's
co-opt you and they do it,
1984.
and then they fuck with you, and you go, "What am I?" I think that's their version
Gaslighting.
of consent.
Oh, yeah.
That's how I think they did it. This is so absurd. Surely everybody else sees this, so I don't even need to say it. And then you don't say it, and then they keep doing it. We have to just keep calling it out.
We have to
and mock it.
always say, stay out of my ass.
Yeah. Well, I'll let you wrap up.
And on that-
we do have to do the gold real quick.
Oh.
Do you
we're
want- do you
still
wanna
the
do it?
gold. No, you do the
I'll
gold,
do it
but
real
let
quick.
me say this. I always want to do a whole show about how Cleopatra moved her gold away from Rome through
Mm-hmm.
the Jews to Jerusalem. And gold is destroying the Fed, and gold is the hope of all of humanity. So let's tell people how they can save what little wealth they have.
Well, yeah, if you want to protect your wealth, there's investments and stuff, but if you actually want to protect your wealth, the smartest thing you can do right now is put some form of your money, some amount in precious metals, because they can't really take that yet. So we suggest, and they are an ad sponsor of ours, but it's bh-pm.com, Beverly Hills Precious Metals. Andrew was a guest on our show. Go there,
It's
sign
a
up.
lot better than paper money.
It's a million times better than paper money because you can always move it back, and you can actually like roll over your IRA into precious metals. They can do it all. So all you got to do is go to this website, do a free consultation, whatever you want. Just say that Roseanne sent you, and it's been working. A lot of people have been protecting their wealth. We've been very happy with the
Better
numbers
have
we've
some
seen.
gold bars than paper.
And yeah, say the zombie apocalypse happens, everything shuts down, hungry feral people on your front lawn. If you just have cash, that's not going to help you. It doesn't have actual value. But if you have gold bars, you can club those people right
Yeah,
in the face,
exactly.
skull fractures.
Yeah,
You are
there's
protecting
some
your
weight to
family's
it.
future
Absolutely.
with gold.
That
In a
is true. The
sock.
weapon. I didn't even think
And a
about
long gym sock.
that. Yeah, that's a really good point. Gold's too soft. That's why you got to go to silver, or is it the other way around?
But it will.
It'll
It'll take out someone who's trying to steal your shit.
That's such a good point. I never thought of paper money. You can't use as a weapon.
Now you throw it at best, you're irritating
Toilet paper.
people.
You can use it for toilet paper.
All right. Well, if you want to wrap up, Mom.
Thank you so much. You are a wonderful person and a blessing for me to sit and talk with. I hope you're hungry and I hope you likes meat.
Oh, thank you, Roseanne. Yes, I actually I eat meat, but I identify as a vegan, so I'm going to really enjoy the barbecue.
Good. Absolutely.
And thank you for having me on
Thank you
again,
for
sister. It's
coming.
a pleasure to be here with you.
Oh, you see